Okay, I'm pressing.
Okay.
Woohoo! And we
Woo!
are live.
Yay!
Yay! Welcome to Spiritpreneur School. I am your host and headmistress, Abiola Abrams. And this beautiful woman that you see here with me is Erickka Sy Savané. Hello, Erickka.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so I'm going to tell the audience a little bit about you and then let them know about today's show. And then we're going to just get all up into your business, all up into your brew.
Great.
So Erickka Sy Savané, I love it. I love her name. Like I could say it like forever. Is a former model, actress, and MTV VJ. It's so interesting. We have so much overlap in our past.
Yes.
She began her writing career in the late 90s as a relationship columnist for Trace magazine, and since then her work has appeared in Essence, Heart and Soul, Clutch magazine, Mommy Noir, XO Jane, and Uptown magazine, where she was an editor. In addition to writing her left-leaning social commentary blog, The Brew, Erickka writes a daily column called Pop Mom Daily. Exciting stuff. Pop culture from a mother's perspective for MadameNoir.com. When she's not doing that, find her in Jersey City with her hubby and two beautiful girls. And you can follow her throughout the social media universe. So just to let everyone who is watching know that today's episode is sponsored by Erickka's blog, The Brew. We're going to give you the links of how to check her out. And also my new Spiritpreneur program. If you are ready to create your own Spiritpreneur signature program, I'm teaching you how in a 4-week master course that is only for soul-based coaches, healers, goddess lightworkers, creative geniuses, and sacred bombshell entrepreneurs. You can get more information and take a free class at abiolatv.com/I am ready. That's abiolatv.com, where the TV stands for transformation and victory /I am ready. So now let's turn to our lovely guest, Erickka. So Erickka, I just read your formal bio about who we would announce you to be. Who are you really? Give us the real scoop. Who is the woman, the myth, the legend?
Where do I begin? Okay, my name is Erickka Sy Savané. I was saying you did an amazing job with that name because it's complicated for a lot of people. So it's Erickka Sy Savané. I am a writer. I write a daily column for MadameNoir.com called Pop Mom Daily, which is pop culture from a mom's perspective, because we moms have a very unique outlook on life. And so I'm really all about that. And I am a wife. I've been married for some years to my hubby. He's an actor. I have two beautiful little girls. I say they're beautiful. 2 daughters, 6 and 3. And let's see what else. I write. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. Those are the main things.
And you're just fabulous. That's a lot. That's a lot by itself.
It keeps me busy. It really keeps me busy.
Now you are literally, having it all in terms of like what society says it all looks like. Can you tell us about, work-life balance for you, Erickka, what that looks like?
Oh my goodness, it's day to day. I tell you this, I do the best that I can with it. It's interesting because I wrote an article recently where Shonda Rhimes was asked that question: how does she feel about how does she balance work and motherhood? And she said she hates that question because people don't ask men that. And it started opening up. Yeah, it's true. And so a lot of women felt like, well, it's a valid question. Answer it, because it is the first thing that we ask a woman who is a mom and she has a career. So I got where Shonda Rhimes was coming from, but for me, I will answer that question because I think that it's something that we moms do want to know. It's a day-to-day challenge, really. When you have a career and you have kids, you're always there's going to be times where you feel like you're not giving the kids enough attention. There are times when you know you have to do work and you have to give that attention. So the balance is really, I think, day to day. I just try to do the best that I can and not feel guilty about it. And for me, it's a lot of not getting a lot of sleep at night to make it happen. I was saying I go to bed sometimes at 1 a.m. and I wake up at 5. So that's just what it is right now. But what I do is remind myself that I love what I'm doing. I love writing. I love putting work out there that I believe in, that I can stand behind. And so sometimes it means being a little sleepier than I would prefer, but it is what it is, you know?
It is. Yeah. Yeah. I think that that is, thank you for sharing that answer with us. And I think that it is a very, very valid question. I'm asking not only, for the women who are watching, but I'm also asking for myself. We are age appropriate, as they say, and I haven't had my babies yet. And I would like to, because of the timeline of how things go. But, it's scary to me because I love what I'm doing so much, and so it's a valid question. And if we were talking with a man who was like the primary caregiver for his children, we would ask, that question. It so happens that the way that things, work in our society, it tends to be, that we tend to be the primary caregiver,
Right.
And so
And
I think that.
yeah, it's going to be different for every woman. I feel like no two women are the same when it comes to balancing work and motherhood. And I think we have to know that it's going to be unique to us. And that's why really managing the guilt around it is a big thing,
Yes.
but it's just going to be personal. I wish there was a magic answer to that.
Yeah, I wish there was too. I wish there was too. But the beautiful thing is that it's a choose your own adventure, just like the creative life, that your life as a writer is not going to look like my life as a writer or the next person's life as a writer. Like we all literally get to create this life, in the way that, your husband as an actor, it's the same thing. The things that we have, some of the things we have in common in our past, Erickka, with you were an MTV VJ and I was a BT. I had my own BT show for a while.
I used to see I remember.
And I remember you were everywhere, and you still are, but there it was your face, and now it's more your voice, which is really amazing and phenomenal. What was the transition like for you? Was there a conscious transition that, okay, this was my modeling time, this was my writing time? Or was it just the progression of things, or did they just overlap and it just was what it was?
Well, it's interesting. I've always been a writer. I started writing when I was in high school. When I first, one of my first, I'm still proud of it, my first award for writing an essay when I was a senior in high school. So I've always been a writer, but I never took it seriously. Even when I was modeling and acting, writing was kind of like that thing I would do on the side. And I had a relationship column for a Trace, and it was fun for me. And then at one point when I had my kids, things changed. I have, like I said, 2 daughters, and I was looking at some of the things I was doing. I used to also, sing. So I wanted to be like, this big singing sensation or whatever. And I had to really say, what can I do having 2 kids? Like I had to really evaluate my options, and writing which is, like I said, something that I love. It really made the most sense. I realized I couldn't be in the studio trying to sing, and I have 2 kids. You get lost in the studio singing. You could be there for days, and not gonna work for me being a mom. And not to say there are a lot of moms that are actresses and whatnot, but for me, it just made the most sense, and it was still in line with something that I love. I think a lot of times we don't look for things that can seem practical because we want to feel this certain amount of passion from what we do. But the funny thing is, sometimes that passion comes when you choose something, even if it seems practical. If you have an inkling of love for it, then you nurture that, and you plant it as a seed, and you water it, and then it grows into something. And that for me is what writing has been. It started off making sense but it's become something that that I really love and that I appreciate and I feel honored to do. And keeping in line with the fact that this is about telling stories, I get a high when I tell stories, and I'm really interviewing women about their experiences. It's not always about me and my personal experiences. I love when I can share a story. I just wrote something for Pop Mom Daily about a mom whose son served 13 years for a crime he didn't commit. And it was really, I wanted to know what does a mom think when we try to teach our kids to do right and teach them right from wrong, and then they end up in prison. Now, he happened to not do it, but even if he had, you know, your mom and your, what goes through your head, you know, you worry and you have regrets, maybe you wish you had done something different. And so for me to tell this woman's story was such an honor, and I'm always honored when people speak to me really honestly and openly, and they give me that. So I try to do the best that I can to really tell people's stories in the most, just the highest way that I can. You know, it's just an honor how I feel about it.
I so relate to what you just said, that's exactly how I feel. Like, you know, being able to dialogue with women like you, like what we're doing right now, and be able to give a platform to our voices. You know, the power, storytelling is a really powerful, you know, and ancient and rich and deep, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just, and I completely relate to that. That is so powerful and so incredible, and thank you for saying that, and thank you for your writing, Erickka. You have a very distinct and specific voice, and I love reading your writing.
Thank
I
you.
know that you're welcome, and I've enjoyed it, you know, from, you know, the Bitches Brew, which is transformed into the Brew, and through its various formats. And so now you're doing a daily column, which
Pop Mom
is
Daily.
Pop Mom Daily, which is quite rigorous. You know, just as a writer, you know, I did that for a little bit with Yahoo, and it's intense.
It is intense.
It's intense. Can you talk to us about the difference in, you know, what it was like for you before with doing some of you did some very long form pieces, and now, you know, with the daily column?
Yes. When I first reinvented it, used to be Bitches Brew, and then I reinvented, I dropped, it became the Brew, and I would do, which is my blog, thebrewonline.com. And it would take me a month. When I first started, it would take me a month to do one post. And now I'm at one day doing a post. So it's been a process of figuring out how to bring the same depth and quality to an article in a very short amount of time. And that has been a process. And I really work to cultivate a certain, there's a process that I take myself through that I've had to develop through doing. I think a lot of things happen in the doing. If I hadn't taken on doing a daily a daily column, I wouldn't be able to do a daily column. Sometimes when we really stretch ourselves out and we put ourselves out there, we have to figure it out. Like, it's just, you just have to figure it out. So for me, I've just had to figure it out. And it is rigorous because, like I said, I go to bed a lot of times at 1, I wake up at 5. I pull, most nights are late nights, and I get just a few hours sleep, but I love it, you know. And on those days when I don't get a lot of sleep and I still have to get up with my girls and get them off to school and pick them up and be present for them, from the time they get out of school until the time they go to bed, I have to be there with them. And presence is a factor. And but I just, again, I remind myself that I love what I do. And so this is what the path that I've chosen. And so with that, it's not going to be it's not always going to be convenient for me, in that sense. But when you love it, you just figure it out, you know, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And I love what you said about us stretching ourselves. So many, you know, so many times somebody may get an offer of something and feel like, I really can't do that. But, you know, leaping into it and, you know, and allowing yourself to grow, I feel like is a really important part of the journey, and really important as a writer.
Yes. If I hadn't taken Pop Mom Daily on writing on a daily basis, I would have never known that it was possible for me to write what I write daily, because I get in there. I love to explore topics, and I'll ask myself maybe 20 questions on a topic before I start writing. Like, I explore it. I explore topics like crazy. And so I would have never known that it was possible. It used to be a thing in my head, like one day I'd love to write every day, but it was so far off in the future. And so now it's here, but I had to actually just take it on, and so I'm happy that I did. And it's scary. And some days I'm really like, I have to get my daughters so I have to leave the house at 2 o'clock to get my daughters, but sometimes the column I'm turning it in at like 1:59, and
Yes.
some days I'm wondering, oh my God, am I going to figure out that angle, that thing that I want to say in this, that thing that I find special about this topic? Will I find it in time? Will it happen? Will I create that magic around it?
Mm-hmm.
And it happens. It always happens. It's different. Every topic is different, but it always does happen. And so it's a really an amazing process. I'm happy to just, like I said, get the opportunity to do it.
That's awesome. And actually, you just reminded me that we are actually in November, which is the National Novel Writing Month, where a lot of writers challenge themselves to try to finish a book by writing every day. And so that's great. So if you are a writer and you're watching this, just Google national, it's like a nano write month, the hashtag, and just check that out, because it is a very specific muscle with pushing yourself that way. And one of the things that I thought, Erickka, when I learned that you were doing a daily column, is how exciting, because for me, as someone who likes and appreciates your writing, how exciting, because now you're going to have so much content that you can pick and choose from to put together as your book.
Yes, true, absolutely. I mean, I definitely see a book in the future. It's interesting. There's so many things that I'm interested in that I don't even know where I would begin, what realm to do a book in. I'm sure it would now be in the realm of maybe mom, something to do with that, I'm thinking. But right now, I'm really having fun doing this and exploring the daily column. Like, I'm having a ball. And so, again, the book, I'd love to do books, like you. I want to be like you when I grow up.
I want to be like you when I grow up. So, Erickka, I know that, for a while, you were primarily at Mommy Noir, and then the growth and the evolution of that. Are you a part of the extended mommy blogger and mommy writing community?
I don't understand the question. Like, in what way? Like
I guess that there's, for me, from the outside, because I'm not a mommy blogger, it seems like there is this kind of, and it could be, I'm just imagining it, this cohesive, kind of mommy bloggerness, like, oh, mommy bloggers, and that people are throwing sponsorships and money and opportunities for mommy bloggers, and mommy bloggers are getting together, and so.
Well, you know what? There is no, at least if there is, I have just not been invited yet.
Okay, it's not a club with a key and
not a club.
Okay.
But you know what? That means there's opportunity to create one, which, I would take that one.
Yes.
There should be.
There should be. There should be. I know that I've met like a couple of people who write about Black family life, in a way to tell our stories that specifically, just haven't been told, that there are only very specific voices that we tend to see in big media. And so I know that there's a couple that blogs together, and their blog is called Black and Married with Children. And, yes. And so so that might be very interesting to,
Yeah, I think it'd be great if we all got together and kind of powwowed and saw how we could bring that energy together. I mean, because it's the future. A lot of women are going to have kids and families are going to be formed, and it's important, especially for the Black community, to create a village galaxy around that, to really nurture the future, the next generation. So I think that would be great. And I think there's a lot of room for growth and development and coming together.
And, speaking of community, Erickka, that in the tradition of many great writers, that your writing is, very much social commentary. There's a very, strong socio-political, voice as well, and, in a very personal way that isn't, like in a wagging your finger kind of way, but it's a very personal voice. How did you develop that specific voice that you have? I know that you started as a relationship writer with Trace.
Right. It's interesting. How did I develop that voice? It's always in development. For me, I'm just a very curious person. I'm curious about people in general. I ask a lot of questions, and I always have. And for me, I don't always say it's about me, but it's about other people too. I don't know. I really don't know. I think I always say it's just kind of in the doing. The more you write, the more you discover about yourself. I think an article you may have commented on through like Twitter or something that you read. I've written about things that I thought that I would never write about before, like such as when I got my lip done.
Yes. Share that story. Share the story of the writing of it, and share the story of what happened.
Well, yeah, there are things that I had, like secrets that I felt like I would take to the grave. And one of them, not one of my most shining moments, was when I was a model. I went and I always wanted fuller lips. And so I went to a woman and who lived in Harlem that I was told about. And I allowed this woman to put some permanent lip stuff in my lips. And I didn't even know the woman's name. And I say lip stuff because I didn't even ask what it was. I just really wanted to look this certain way. And I thought that was going to be the answer for me, that once I did that, my career was going to skyrocket and I was going to be this big supermodel. And what I got was jacked up lips as a result. It did not turn out well. And for me, I was so embarrassed and I felt so much shame around that because it just was not smart. And that's something that I never told anyone. And it really had a big effect on my career because I stopped enjoying taking pictures. I hated seeing myself on film. So how do you model when you no longer like how you look? So my work started dwindling in a certain way because I wanted to just hide. And so I did hide in a lot of ways. And so that's something I never thought I would tell anyone. And then I found myself writing about it. One day I just wanted to be free. I just wanted to be myself. And I felt that if I shared that, then maybe I could have some freedom again. Maybe I could accept myself again. Maybe I could look at a picture of myself and not feel ashamed, and so I shared that story, and it was a turning point for me because once I shared that, there was nothing that could hold me back anymore. That was like my biggest secret. And so writing for me has been very therapeutic. So when you ask about how did that voice develop, it's very therapeutic, what it does for me. And I don't know. I just feel like it's in the sharing those things because I feel like a lot of us have things that we've done that we're not proud of, but we don't tell anyone. And especially as Black women, when it comes to things like surgery, we don't talk about that. And we definitely don't talk about surgery getting botched up. And so we tend to think that we're above certain things,
Yes.
people talk now a lot about getting the, butt implants and that going wrong. But I just feel like for me, it's about being really human, and maybe when I can be human, then it can give other women, other Black women, that permission to be human too. So in a way, that's really what I'm about. I'm just no longer afraid to not be myself, and that's come through my writing, and it's become because of my writing. If I didn't have that outlet to share that story, in particular, getting my lips, messing my lips up, then I don't think I would be where I am today, because it would probably still be a secret for me.
Right.
So I mean, writing has the ability to really I don't know, can change our world. It can change other people's world. It's important, you know, the way I see it.
It is important. It is important. And I feel like it's a ministry, that, I say all the time, like writing saves my life,
Mm-hmm.
and also,
Mm-hmm.
reading other people's stories, it does give us permission, as, I've related so much to many things that you said when you talked about the lips, like, I have smaller lips for a Black girl. I do. And I was actually having this conversation with a friend of mine a couple of months ago. She's a beauty blogger, Patronila Jefferson. And she said, okay, so what are some of the topics you think that women want to know, about beauty, Black women, for her beauty blog? And I said, can you write something about, plumping up your lips and making your lips bigger? And she's like, Abiola, she's like, no other Black women need to know that. And I was like,
That's funny, we do though, and that's the thing, and that's why it's so great to talk about it, because we don't know those things that other Black women talk about. You know, I still have so many stories yet to write about anorexia, bulimia, things like
yes,
that.
yes.
You know, I have a bulimia story in me that has yet to be written.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was growing up, I didn't know other Black women suffered from bulimia. We still don't hear about it a lot, you know. So we tend to, that's when I say we tend to think we're above certain things, and we're not. You know, I'd love to read about someone else's struggle with lip envy, another Black woman, you
Yes,
know.
yes.
I mean,
I
yeah.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I mean, the booty thing has been, now at this point, has been so done, but it's also something that's very much prevalent in our society. But I wrote a post flat booty. I mean, for me
And
growing up,
that was another one I thumbed up, and I was like, yes, for the flat booty girls.
like growing up with a flat booty was tough, you know, before there was any implants or anything like that. But no one talked about, there's a time when no one talked about those things. I mean, what does it do to you if you're a Black woman with a flat booty? Not like a small booty. I'm talking about no booty. And
Yeah.
it's real, you know, there's teasing, I mean, teasing from a young age. So I really tried to, for my writing, I actually try to make it entertaining even when I write about these things, just so people will listen. Sometimes it's easier to bring a little humor into these topics, because
Mm-hmm.
then you can kind of catch people off guard.
Yes.
So I'm always trying to bring the humorous aspect when I can, you know, when I can.
I think that that's a really good way to look at it. And, for people who are watching, if you want to ask questions and you are watching this live, there is a blue question box. It says Q&A, and it's on the bottom of the viewer. You can click there and ask your questions. I think that, it's definitely like, and for people who are writers or aspiring writers, it gets easier after you share the story. Like, it's terrifying. The first time that I wrote about, dealing with disordered eating, it was terrifying for me, and I
Oh
felt,
my God. Yeah.
embarrassed and scared.
Yeah.
But then it becomes easy, because after you say it, then it's out.
Yeah. You
Then
realize
you can,
it's not that big a deal. It's not the
right.
deal you thought it was. It's really not. You know, once you get it out there, and once you really kind of put that thing you never thought you would put out there, then you
Mhm.
have so much freedom. There's just, you know, the sky's the limit for you. You know, that's what I've
Yes.
found.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, Erickka, let me ask you this, because you're still stunning, you're still young. You have two kids, who are equally as gorgeous, I'm sure.
Oh,
Have you ever thought about modeling as a family, or is modeling something that you would ever still do, or is
well, you
that in your
know
past?
what? Well, now I'm looking more into, I'm really about being a mom. That's what I love. I mean, I'm a woman, I know, obviously. You know, it's not just about me being a mom. But when I think now in terms of modeling, I think about things, partnering with brands and people that really want a strong voice. It's kind of like how can I say that? It's really what I'm about first. Like, I'd like to partner with people who really want to put things out in the world, make a difference in the world, you know? And
Mhm.
those are the things that I would want to lend my voice to, my image to. It's different than when I would just do things because I was a model. You're a face for hire, you know? And so now that I'm a little older, and that I'm a family woman, and I'm also, I feel a certain social responsibility. You know, I'm writing about topics and things that I really believe in. So it's really about lending my voice, my face, myself to things that I can get behind. And so that's what I would do and consider now, because yeah, I don't have to go and I can do what I want to do. That's kind of how I think.
Yes.
I'm about what I want. I'm always trying to see, what do I want to do, independent of just money, though we all have to make money and that's important. But I'm really always trying to uncover, what am I about? What do I want? So that's what I'm moving towards. It's always figuring out, what do I want? What's the next thing for me? What am I about? What do I want to put out there? How do I want to make a difference?
Yes. Okay. Okay. So then I would say, Erickka, then if someone is watching this and she's like, oh my gosh, look at Erickka, she's so fabulous, and they want to be a writer and a blogger, that, most of us who are writers, we're always writers, as you said, but they want to do it professionally. What would your advice be?
I would say, if you want to do writing professionally, I think one of the most important things that we can do, and it's one of sometimes the hardest thing, is really figuring out what you want to talk about, what you're about, what's important to you, because there's a whole world out there. So if you say you want to write, you can't, it's just about what, what really speaks to you. So I think when you can kind of identify a space for yourself, a realm, I think that's like the first thing. And then one of the second things I think could be really looking at your time. And for me as a mom, one thing I had to do was accept that I have a certain amount of time and that's it. I think we always, a lot of us tend to envision, if I had this amount of time, like I said, it used to take me a month to write one post. We think there's going to be this day when we're going to have more, when we're going to have all the time we need, or all the elements are going to come in place, and maybe we won't have that job, that 9 to 5 or something that we feel is keeping us from having the time. I think one of the main things we can do is realize, this is what I have. I have this amount of time, and I'm going to have to produce within this time frame. And that's it. Like, once you can accept what you have today, then you can kind of like start moving from there. You can fit it into that, work with that, and then it becomes about the next step and the next step. I think writing becomes, start writing, start writing, sharing it with your friends, getting a free template. I think a lot of people underestimate just getting a free template. You don't really have to pay anything to get going. Get a free template, and start putting it on that page. Start exploring what's important to you. And even if putting it on a free blog for yourself is still putting it out there, which is a little much for you, a little intimidating as a start writing and send it to your friends. I have a lot of people that ask me about writing, and I tell them to send me, send stuff my way, and you'd be surprised how many people don't do that. I'm sure you get that too. And
Yes.
you say, how can I? And you say, well, send it to me. I'll take a look and I'll let you know. And they don't ever come back.
Yes. Yes. I think that it's good that you said that. You said two key things there. The first is, that people use the excuse of time. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. And I say that it's not about time, it's about what you prioritize. We all have the same amount of time, and I don't have the time just means it's not a priority to me.
Yeah. I mean, and then I'll say, for like, say, parents and moms, you do have less. Like, that is the truth. You know what I mean? But if you have, for me, like I said, I go to sleep a lot of times at 1 and I'm up at 5. I could say that's not enough time, or I can say that's what I have to work with. So I'm gonna get 4 hours sleep tonight, but I'll be damned, I'm gonna keep working. And then at some point that's gonna be different. But right now, that's all I have. So it's either you choose, it's like a choice, you choose to do it with what you have, or you choose to wait until this time in the future where this things are magically going to, it's a myth, you know what I mean? It's not real.
It is a myth. I call it the myth of ultimately. People think in their head, ultimately they'll be happy. Ultimately, they're gonna. Ultimately, what?
Yes.
Ultimately, I'm gonna lose the weight. I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna finish writing the book. I'm gonna start my dream blog. They have an idea that ultimately. But this is our lives right this minute.
Right,
it's happening now.
This is
it's happening now. So I
Yes.
think the other key thing that you said, Erickka, is about action and about how many people say, hey, I want to do this. And then when you have offered to them, send it to me and I'll take a look. And then they never come back with it.
You never, you know, and it's very interesting. It really shows, I think a lot of people, I think they're shocked about what it really takes to get something going. You know what I mean? It's not easy. It is not. I mean, if
Yes.
things were easy, everybody would be doing
Yes.
it. They just would, you know, and I think we all want it easier. I would love a lot of things to be easier. I would just love it.
Me too.
But
Me too. But that's not what it is.
it's not what it is. It takes work, you know, to get if you envision a certain life and a certain lifestyle, it's gonna take everything in you to get that. It's gonna take everything. It's gonna take a level of focus that you didn't know that you had. You know, it's gonna take sticking to it every single day, you know, is important every moment. So, you know, but that's what it is.
That's what it is. Well
You
said.
know.
Okay, so you have a number of questions coming in, Erickka. Okay, so here's a question from Chica Photo. She says, what do you think are the barriers that stop Black women bloggers from sharing personal stories and perspectives? She says her friend is a travel blogger who's hesitant about posting travel stories involving racism and sexism.
Okay. I mean, I just think that, I mean, when I look at myself and what stopped me is really there's a certain level of embarrassment. It's a lot of it has to do with revealing ourselves and feeling like we have to be smarter than I don't know if it's our white counterparts than other people, but it's really interesting. Sadly, it holds us back because we struggle with so much, you know, and so by revealing those things, someone else can say, "Oh my God, I didn't know that you felt that way." Like I've never, until you said that thing about the lip envy, I had never met someone else that has said, "Oh, me too." So I love that you can say that. You know what I mean? It's like we have that in common. I didn't know.
Yes,
It's
yes.
great. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's a certain level of vulnerability that we don't want to have, but it also keeps us in that thing of being super women and that's a myth too, but it's only perpetuated by us because we don't put the vulnerability out there. You know, for me in my writing, it's really not I don't tell people what they should do or how they should feel. I really a lot of times just share it and whatever people make of that. But a lot of times I do not look like the smartest person in the world. And I understand that. It was not smart to go get my lips pumped up by a woman whose name I didn't even know twice, you know, and then to go on a whole spree of seeing other doctors trying to get it fixed. And you know, not to call out names, but I'll say someone, God bless her, like say a little Kim. I feel like a lot of women like that is more in the reason they get to that place because they're trying to fix it. At some point, you start chasing the fix. You want to fix it. If you could go back to your original, you would. You know, I shared with my 6-year-old daughter yesterday because I saw her having an issue with she has very short hair and so she struggles with that sometimes and I'm constantly showing her pictures of people like Lupita and
Yes.
anyone that I see with a short fro. I'd show her and I say, oh my God, look at this model, look at this person. Or it's not always models, you know, but I say, isn't she beautiful? So she struggles with that and I had to tell her about me and my lip, you know, and there's a lot maybe to share with a 6-year-old, but I wanted her to know that I too struggle with my image. And I told her, I said, if I could go back to my original lip, I would do it in a second. So I just wanted her to know you're beautiful as you are right now, originally. You know, this is your original self and you are gorgeous, you know. And so I just feel like as Black women, it's time for us to just be who we are, you know, whatever that is, whatever it is, however it looks. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not
No,
perfect.
we're
You know what
not.
I mean? We're figuring it out.
We're
Let's do it
figuring it
together.
out.
Let's do
Let's
it
do it
together.
together. Yes. And you're bringing tears to my eyes
Mm,
because you know that the myth of the being a strong Black woman, you know, on its surface seems like something positive, but it's really insidious because it cheats us of our humanity. It cheats us of our vulnerability. It cheats us of being like, oh my gosh, you know, like I didn't know that other Black women, you know, had eating disorders. I didn't know that. So I thought something was just then even more wrong with me because it felt like, you know, it's just like, but we're all human.
We are.
Let's take another question, Erickka. So Stacy Barlow says, it has been said that people don't read anymore. I don't believe that, but how can you get someone to read what has been written?
What has been written?
And Stacy's a writer who writes columns and also books, poetry, and nonfiction.
Okay. You know what? One thing I'll say to that, how can you get people to read? I'm going to go out on a limb and believe that people want to read quality work. But I think that we also have to look at, as writers, we're responsible for, people want to talk about writing for, you know, they do things for themselves. I write for myself first, this and that. That's cool, but I could write for myself all day. I have to find out, what are people interested in? If I'm writing for Black women, what are some of the issues? What are some of the things that are important to us right now? What do we need? What's missing? So I feel like in terms of getting people to read what you're writing, it has to be enrolling. It has to be something in it for them. It can't be so personal to the point that it's about us and no one else cares, really. You know, I think we just get in our own, we indulge ourselves a lot in our stories. You know, we get caught up in thinking that our lives are so interesting, and they really are, but what's in it for the other person? So for myself, there's an element of myself in there, sure, but there's also, I'm always looking to see what's needed. What do Black women need? Because that's who I write for mostly, first and foremost. So what are we into? So it takes that extra step of getting outside of ourselves, you know, and incorporating others into it. So I think if you have something in it for someone else, they're going to read it, you know. And it also takes finding those women. You're going to have to test the market. You're going to have to put things out there and see who it resonates with. That's the work that we have to do. We have to share it. You know, if we don't share it, then we're in our own minds thinking it's the greatest thing ever written. But yeah, maybe to you, but if no one else can pick up on it, then you still need to work on it. You know, there's something that you have to that has to click. So it really becomes about sharing, testing the market, putting it out there. What do people think about it? Reading those comments. It's hard as heck to read comments. Someone on Madame Noir the other day, if a writer says they don't read comments, you know, their comments on their posts, they're lying. I was reading the comment. You know,
I disagree with comments. We'll talk about that on a
okay, you don't read comments.
I have. It depends on the site. Certain sites where, you know, it's just like.
Well, you know what? I can understand that, but I do read comments because it gives me an idea of what people are thinking on the topic that I wrote about. So it's almost like an assessment. But you know, we all know people can be mean. So I mean, on a post the other day, someone said, "Did Madame Noir get a new writer? The tone of this story was horrible." And I had to say, okay, you know what? I'm not for everybody.
Right. And that's that person's opinion.
Yeah, I'm not for everybody. But, you know, it's really about finding those people that you are for, you know, and that's in the work, who does like it. And it's about like really getting to know those people and having a relationship. You know, it's about the relationship you have with the people that you write for, you know, because ultimately it's not just for us, you know.
Yes, the relationship I think is really important, and that's what separates it from being a monologue and makes it into a dialogue. Right. And so, yes, like that there are, you know, I will dialogue with people all over, you know, my social media, but there are some sites where, like Huffington Post, for example, you know, it's literally like some guy in a basement, they're anonymous, Abiola Abrams is my real name. I'm my real self that I've been since birth. This is the name my parents gave me, so I'm being me. And so if you want to show up and have a dialogue with me, you show up as you. You don't show up as an anonymous person, because then and I also say, quickly, because I will block you and delete you very fast. My social media is not a democracy. It's not.
Right. Right. No, I mean, I prefer people to be respectful. I'll have a dialogue with people as long as they're respectful. Because you don't have to agree with everything I say. You don't have to agree with anything that I say, but don't call me an idiot. You know what I mean? Don't call me names. Don't call me stupid, things like that. Unfortunately, you got to take the good with the bad, and kind of develop a thicker skin when it comes to that. I used to get in the beginning when I started posting things on different sites, I used to and they'd get a lot of comments. I used to get down about things that I would take it personally, and then I had to really get over that and say, okay, you know what, the fact that they even took the time to say something means that it struck some type of chord, because if it didn't, they wouldn't say anything. I remember speaking of mentors, I know there's a mentor that I had. His name is Claude Gruniski, and he put out this magazine, Trace Magazine, which is where I had my first my relationship column. And he used to tell me when I started off, if people aren't saying anything, then you're not really saying anything. So it's in the people who don't like you as well that really shows you that you're saying something. So I always try to say something, damn it.
Yes. And I think it's also important that you said you're not for everybody. I'm not for everybody. None of us is for everyone. And so by trying to appeal to everyone, you appeal to no one, really.
That's right.
Wait, here's another question for you, Erickka, from Chica Photo. She says, I think that it's important that you write about she's talking about her friend, the travel writer. Okay. I think it's important that she writes about the fullness of her experiences, positive, negative, and everything in between. She's just saying thank you both for such an engaging discussion. It is important, and you share about being a mommy, which is great, because being a mom in our generation is different than it was for our mothers. And so, while I might enjoy reading someone like Alice Walker talking about motherhood, it's different because for me, you're my peer. And so it's more relatable for me that you share your experience.
Yes. And right now, because there are things that are going on now today in terms of social media and what our kids see, there's so many things that are different than when, like you said, Alice Walker was bringing up her kids. That's why it's important to have so many voices, to have voices out there. We're all rich in experiences, moms, single women, it's just really about really sharing who we are and making it palatable for other people so that people can read and find the fun in that again. You know what I mean? But I think it really takes writers that really are passionate about what they're doing, and not even just passion, that really do the work. You can't really just make it about followers, and people follow you when you have something that you're about. I think I'll follow anybody when they're about something. So it's really about, like I said, what do you have to say? What are you bringing? What void are you filling? Where are you coming from? Why should I listen to you? What you have to say? Like, make it enroll me in something, So when in terms for writing, I take it seriously, with a lot of respect. The writers that I love, James Baldwin, Langston Hughes, Zora Neale Hurston, Maya Angelou, I really respected those people and what they did as an art. So I think that, it's easy to throw blogs up and things like that. But I always feel that real, true writers that really are about the craft, they're gonna stick out and they're gonna find an audience. You just have to be gutsy enough to put that work out there and do the work, to keep putting it out there, to know that you're gonna be in development. You know what I mean? You're not going to have it maybe right off. And I always say, I tell my daughter, and I always say I'm the greatest writer that ever lived. That's my goal.
Yay.
Muhammad Ali, every time I write something, I want it to be the greatest thing written, but that's the bar that I set for myself. And of course, it doesn't always reach that level, but damn it, just by having that as a goal, then my stuff is usually elevated higher then you know, I don't, you know, not to sound conceited, it's just there's a level of greatness that I like to bring to my work. I'm just about it being great. You know, I love people like Muhammad Ali, people that were about it, you know, and are
Yes.
about it, you know. So it's like, you know, I feel like you want to catch me, you're gonna have to get up early, you're gonna have to go to bed too, you're gonna have to get 3 hours sleep. You know, come get me, but I'm going. You know, let's go though. Let's all of us go. Let's be about it. You know what I mean? Let's change the world.
Yes, that's
You know,
beautiful, Erickka. Yes.
you know what I mean? I would love a whole gang of Black women such as yourself that are really about it. You're about it. You know what I mean? I met you via social media, and I love
Yes.
how your smile and how you're so welcoming. You welcome me on social media, you know, and like you're about it. You know, you're really
Thank
about it. And
you.
I think it's about women like that coming together. Let's just keep going, especially for Black women. There's so many places that we can go, you know. So if we just kind of like get going with it and really throw a lot of the old conversations aside and make it about the new conversations. What's next for us? I'm always trying to see what's next for us. Where are we going? You know, let's find new places to go. There's so much ahead of us besides, you know, what's behind us. There's so many trails to be blazed, you know. So that's what I'm about.
Yes, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. That is being transcribed and being put in my next book. Quote from Erickka Sy Savané. That was beautiful and inspirational. You have a couple of questions I want to get to before we close. So Olivia, hi Olivia. Olivia says, can you offer some guidance or inspiration about writing for blogs or websites besides my own blog or newsletter? I have a block when it comes to expanding outside of the comfort of the space I created. I honor that question, Olivia. Courageous question.
Yeah, that's a great question, and one that I had to tackle myself, starting with my own blog. And what it is to really look at, okay, what is your subject matter for one? Look at find blogs, bigger blogs, established blogs that have the content that you write. See what type of post, type of stories they put out on their blog. Say if it's Clutch or Exojane or Essence, Ebony, whatever site it is, do your research basically. Find out what type of stories they look for. And then you just find out what their email is. A lot of times they'll have a pitch, you know, how to contact them for pitches. And you write a pitch, you write a pitch letter. A pitch letter being, this is a topic that I've written on, or that I mainly, it's great if you kind of like have written on it already or you have it, but this is a topic that I've written a story on. Say if it's on something like, I don't know, just crazy. I wrote something on washable pads, sanitary
Yes.
napkins. So you wrote an article on that, and you tell them why you think their audience would be interested in a topic like that. You know, you kind of show them what's in it for them and for their audience. You write a pitch letter that lets them know that why their readers would be interested in that. You send them that sample, but again, you make it enrolling, but you just email these sites, and those sites have following. They have bigger followings. Even someone like curlynikki.com, she was fantastic when I was getting the brew going, because I contacted her, and she has a self-help day or something where she does a post a week on self-help. And so she would do my articles from the brew on that. She would place it on there. And on a day that she would do one of my articles, say the article on the lip story that I wrote, I would get about maybe 700 to 800 people that would come to the brew just from having read it on there. They transferred over to my site. So it's really about piggybacking off of more established sites. But you just, again, you write them a letter and let them know why this thing that you've written is going to be great for their audience. Again, it's always what's in it for them. Not that you just feel like you have something great because you like it. What's in it for the audience? So that's when, again, the research comes in. What is that audience into?
Well said, and great advice. I think that a lot of, I really want you guys to take away what she just said about the research part of it, especially because a lot of people pitch people and they pitch sites that they don't read, or publications that they don't read. And so if you don't know the editorial voice and needs of that publication, like, you can't don't just go out blindly pitching everything everywhere. Really get to know intimately what the voice is of the publication. You know, an article about Serena Williams for Essence is going to have a different voice than an article in Ebony, then and the same article on Curly Nikki is going to have a different voice than on Afro Bella. So really get to know who you're pitching as well.
Absolutely. And try to come up with a fresh angle. And that comes into the work too, because you don't want to say the same thing that's been said over and over and over. So you really want to mine that topic for something that's fresh, because already, you know, the topic has a certain interest level. Say if it's Black hair or if it's relationships. Okay, we all want to know something in that realm, you know, but what is it that you have to say that's a little bit different that maybe hasn't been said, or different kind of spin to a topic? You know, there's no new topics under the sun. You know what I mean? So it's always going to be the same stuff, but what can you bring that's a bit more unique? And that's the work of a great writer.
Great advice, Erickka. Okay, so hopefully that's helpful to you, Olivia. Okay, so here is a last question from Chica Photo. She says, last question to you both. Do you meet with other writers or go to writers groups, receive and share advice? Or she's asking, do you receive and share advice? Is it important to be a part of a creative community? If so, how do you find fellow creatives, specifically writers? Thank you.
You know what? It's interesting. That's a very good question. I don't myself necessarily belong to a writers group, and I think that can be helpful. You know, it can be helpful. Sometimes in groups, we can kind of cheer each other on. We can kind of talk about some of our issues. I bounce around ideas. But I will say that it's not necessary to have that. I think really the most important thing is to get on with it. You know what I mean? What do you have to say? What do you want to do? What are you about? Getting on that schedule for yourself and putting it out there. You know what I mean? Like, that to me is first and foremost. That's the most important thing. So again, it can be helpful, but it's not necessary.
I'm glad that you said that. One of my mentors who recently just passed away, the late great Jackie Collins, that she would say, you know, if you want to be a writer, shut up about it and write. Like, that was her motto, her advice that she would give. And I have been literally I've done almost every kind of writing, and they're all very, very different. That I started out interning as a copywriter at McGraw-Hill Publishing, you know, doing copywriting and copy editing, and then I did TV writing when I was doing TV, and did film writing when I was, you know, producing short films, and I was a ghostwriter for a while, and you know, my first book was fiction, and then this book is, you know, and then now I'm writing more nonfiction. And I don't think that I've ever, outside of, you know, my undergraduate degree was, you know, half in writing. So there I was a part of writing group and writers community. But the interesting thing is that most of my friends are writers. You know, my dad is a writer, my sister is a writer. And so I do think that, you know, as Erickka said, you know, when she says to her friends, send it to me, that there is something powerful about sharing writing, you know, with someone that you trust, and having some kind of, you know, being able to have a dialogue or a community over it. It doesn't mean that it is a formal writers group. I do know a lot of people who have had great success in being in a writers group, that they like the accountability. So you may want to get someone who is a writing coach, you know, on board for you, depending on where you are and what you're doing. And the great thing is, I would say, if you're looking for a writing community, you know, go to meetup.com and find, you know, you can probably find a writers group in your area, no matter where you are, or find online. Just Google writers groups and your city, and you'll find somebody who's doing something, and you can then build, you know, some camaraderie around it. There's also a site which I cannot remember. It starts with an S. If I remember it, I will tweet it later. But it is built around, you know, people sharing, you know, as a community, sharing different drafts of their writing. And so, you know, it just depends on what your own personal process is. But if you feel like there is a community that you need, maybe you want to take a class. I know in New York, we have Gotham Writers Workshop, you know, take a class, and that gives you instant community and mentorship as well. Okay, so we are at 1 minute to go, and another question just came in, and let's just see if you can answer this one really quickly, Erickka. Sarita, Sarita or Sarita, beautiful name either way, says, wonderful spirited women here. Love this show. I will be sending you both some writing. I really want to branch out more. I've been writing for a while, and I have a little following. Yay! This is very inspiring. Well, that's all her comment. So Sarita, that is great. I just want to add a caveat. I am not accepting writing, unfortunately, at this time from other people, just because I wouldn't be able to, in the time that I personally have right now, do you justice. But you can tweet me your links, and I can take a look at things there. But I wouldn't be able to properly do you justice. Go ahead, Erickka, please.
I will say for your anyone that contacts me from having watched this show, that I will take a look. So if you go to the Brew, www.thebrewonline.com, and you'll get my email address. If you email me, I will respond, and I'll take a look.
Yay!
And give my feedback.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So please, yes, Erickka will take a look, and you are in great hands with Ms. Erickka, because she is an incredible writer. If you are unfamiliar with her work, please check it out. You can check it out on Madame Noir and the Mommy Noir archives, and also on her own blog, The Brew Online. Any parting words for our spiritpreneurs, Erickka?
I just want to wish anybody that's thinking of a writing career, that's currently writing, just go for it. Just keep going for it. Don't stop. Just keep developing and growing and putting your work out there and getting better and better. And I wish you the best. I want as many fantastic writers out there as possible. We need you.
Yes, we do. Wait, last question, Erickka. I forgot to ask you, and this is important. With so much that you're balancing, what is your personal self-care, your mental health care, your physical, spiritual care? How do you maintain being this 24/7 goddess?
You know what? I pray a lot. I listen to a lot of self-help tapes. I listen to Joel Osteen. I listen to... I love him. I jog pretty much most days. It helps me like clear my mind. I meditate when I can. I'm always visualizing a life that I want. You know what I mean? I listen to things on the subconscious mind even, and like that kind of work. I'm really into like how the mind works and how we create our reality. So those are the things that I get into, you know, that kind of keep me going.
Oh, you are beautiful, Erickka, and I look forward to many more conversations with you.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I love you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're getting in all of these thank yous. I just wanted to let you know, people are just saying thank you, that they love the conversation. They love what you're doing. Can't wait to read your work. Can't wait to send you their work. Say again clearly where they can find you, both on social media and your site.
Okay, you can find me on Instagram. It's Erickka Sy Savané. You can find The Brew at thebrewonline.com. You can find Pop Mom Daily, which is every day, on madamenoir.com. So that's Pop Mom Daily. So, you know, you can check me out in a few different places.
Yay!
And Twitter too. Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff.
Excellent. And for those of you who are watching, if you are also a Joel Osteen fan or not, Erickka just reminded me this past Sunday he had an amazing sermon that was all about your crown on your head, and it was very inspiring. So you can check that out, online. But thank you, Erickka. Thank you for your writing, your brilliance, your honesty, your beauty. Thank you for your vulnerability and giving me permission to be even more of myself, sis.
Oh, and your lips are beautiful. They're perfect.
Thank you, darling. And thank you for watching Spiritpreneur School. You can subscribe on iTunes, tell a friend, and we will see you in the next episode.